Today we're talking all about the best spot to start a homestead, and to be honest, I don't think you're gonna like my answer. But if you're truly looking to live a more self-sustainable lifestyle and create your own homestead, then this is honestly gonna be the best place for you. And it is where you are right now. Regardless of if you're in a warm climate or a cold climate, you're in an apartment or on 100 acres, where you are right now is the best place to start a homestead, because it's the best place that you can start learning today. You don't need to purchase anything. You don't need to wait months until you get it. You can actually start right now. And that's what we did when we started our homesteading journey. At the time we were living with my parents, it was not that great, honestly. They did have a nice backyard, and we were able to start small. We were able to grow our own herbs. We actually started our own worm farming at that point in time, and we were able to start growing our own vegetables in a container garden. And if you're living in an apartment or a smaller area, then container gardening, growing worms, and raising some smaller animals is probably going to be a great solution for you. There were a lot of barriers when we first started homesteading, primarily because my parents did not want to have it with chickens and quail and a bunch of animals, and they didn't want us to touch a lot of their land because it always felt like we were living there temporarily. But because we were living there temporarily, we were also able to come up with a lot of temporary but also long-term solutions that we could bring into the homestead that we live at today, which is 10 acres. Now, you don't need to have 10 acres. We honestly do not even use all 10 acres. A lot of our land is kept as preserved forest, which really helps create a larger ecosystem and helps all of the vegetation and animals that are native to the state that we live in really thrive. We do use a good portion of our land for gardening and also housing our animals, but we really don't have a huge operation, and if you don't have that much land, then you can do something very similar. I've seen videos of people raising quails on their apartment balconies in New York City. I've heard of people actually having rooftop gardens in New York City. And if you have your own balcony or even a large window in a city, you can do a lot of things with that. You can really start your own herb gardening, which really only takes containers that you can start gardening, or you can start with small animals like rabbits that are really, really quiet. They don't take up that much space, or quail, which are also really small, don't take up that much space. They only need a corner of a patio, especially if you only have a handful of them. So it's more thinking strategically than necessarily waiting until you have that large plot of land and you can start doing more. Because when you actually get that large piece of land that you've been dreaming of, you're gonna get there and not know anything. There are so many things that you can do where you are now, and what's really great about starting right now is that you're able to really plan for the future. So we were able to start gardening. We were able to figure out what crops we really like, which ones we didn't, by just container gardening, which you can do in a really small space, and you can even do indoors if you don't have an outdoor space to do it in. There's also so many community gardens, so if that's something that interests you, you can try doing something like that, and a quick Google search can really lead the way in something like this. But by starting now, you're gonna gain all of that knowledge. You can start reading and researching, watching videos like this one, and really start to plan for exactly what you want. This is gonna help you narrow down the climate that you wanna be in, the amount of land you truly need, and there are people that will do just an acre of land and be able to provide enough food for a family. So really thinking about that and doing research there, because The housing market is not amazing. It's not the best time to be purchasing a bunch of land. There probably isn't even that much available. So really thinking and narrowing down your scope could be really helpful and also help set clear expectations. Something that my mom always told me is this isn't always going to be your forever situation. Maybe you're not in something that you really love and you just want to daydream about the future, but this isn't going to be forever, and if you start something now and it keeps growing and it's really prosperous and you're able to give back to the community or make money in the system that you have, then you will be able to grow even more and reach the goals that you want.